And I'm not a jnani, because I am a devotee, right? I'm a bhakta. So for me, this is not relevant. Okay, let's analyze quickly and see whether Rupa Goswami has just wasted his time for us, and he's just written about the karmis and the jnanis, but not about us. So, have we ever thought that karma, if I would just have a little bit more money, not like, enormous wealth, but just a little bit more money, I could really serve Krishna better. I would build a huge temple for Krishna, and I will open a chain of Govindas in all the prime locations of Scandinavia, and I would distribute massive amounts of prasadam. Have you ever thought like that? Just a little bit more money, not like millions, just so I could do, I could go to all the festivals, and I would give all the money in donations, and really take care of everybody. Huh? Has this thought ever crossed your mind? But devotional service is not dependent on money. It's not dependent on karma, on any type of fruit of activity. We know from the story of, or the life of Kolavecha Sridhar, who was a very simple banana leaf seller. People didn't even know his name. They just called him the banana guy. Like you say, the guy with the motorcycles. You may know his name. Do you know the name of the guy who has the motorcycle store below your house? He's just a motorcycle guy, right? So we have different names for different trades of people. But they have names. They're people. So Sridhar had only the desire to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was so simple that he did not even consider his own residence and his own economical situation to be of great importance. He lived in a bamboo hut with a thatched grass roof. Now yesterday we went to see Lalitanath's garden, and there was some nice gardens and some nice summer houses, but people are not allowed to live in them. You can't stay there. You can visit, but you can't stay there. So, in case you were having thoughts of living simple lives, so you're not allowed to live in the summer house. He was living in a bamboo hut with a grass roof. I think that he would have ended up in jail very fast if you do that somewhere around here. And his only possession was a beat-up iron lota, a cup, which was rusty and had holes in it. It was so bad, so wretched, not even the thieves would look at it. It looked so poor. They would look the other way, it would pain their eyes. So, that's the state, the economic state he was in. He was thin, his cloth were torn, there was more knots, because he didn't have needle and thread, he just made knots when there was a hole, like that. If you have one hole in your dhoti, I'm sure your wife will get upset with you and tell you, my dear husband, why in God's name are you still wearing this dhoti? But he was just not concerned. Not because he was oblivious, but because he was so absorbed in his seva. He was worshipping Mother Ganges. With half of what he made, he worshipped Mother Ganges. And he was chanting day and night, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And his income was very small. Because when you sell banana leaves, you don't make a lot of money. Because in Bengal, banana leaves are everywhere. They just grow everywhere. So how can you make money from that? And flowers from bananas and bananas. It's like it's everywhere. You don't, just pick as much as you want. But that's how he lived life. So Nimai would go to him every day for at least an hour or two and bargain with him. And say, your bananas are no good. I will give you half price. And Sridhar would say, if you don't like it, why don't you go somewhere else? Why are you giving me trouble? Nimai would say, no, if I know I have a good supplier, I will not give him up. But your price is outrageous. Today I will not pay you anything. And he will just take it and run away and steal it. Some days he would come and he would insult Sridhar. He would say, Sridhar, you're an imposter, you're a cheater, you're just trying to fool everybody. You're the most wealthy person in all the universe. And very soon I will expose you. And Sridhar said, what? Me? Look at me. I have nothing. So Lord Chaitanya said, very soon I will prove to the whole world how you're the most wealthy, the most rich person in the universe. So these love fights would go on every day for at least 1 hour. So when Lord Chaitanya manifested his Mahaprakash in the house of Srivas Thakur, he sat on the throne of Vishnu and he called all his devotees to give them blessings and benedictions and boons. After a while he called for Sridhar. Nobody knew who Sridhar was. So he was not a very popular person by mundane estimations. He did not have that many friends. He was probably not on Facebook. So Lord Chaitanya said, you just go out into the courtyard and you start walking and there is one person, he's there and he's chanting there continuously. That's Sridhar. You bring him. So he came and Lord Chaitanya wanted to give him blessing. He wanted to give him boon because he was in the mood of Vishnu, of magnanimous. You see, in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, Lord Chaitanya is this Audharya Dham. But Vishnu, he is in the mood of great abundance, of great opulence. So he wants to give these blessings to everybody. So, and he asked Sridhar, please take a blessing, please take a boon. But Sridhar said, I'm happy, I'm chanting your name and everything is fine. So he said, look at you, you have nothing. I can give you wealth greater than Indra. I can give you yogic siddhi. I can give you mystic perfection. I can give you a planet. Would you like a planet? I mean, this is your chance, Sunday morning before breakfast, you get your own planet. Most people can't even get a little island, somewhere out in a fjord or something. So what to speak of a planet? So he said, no, I'm fine. But Lord Chaitanya, he insisted. So at one point, Mahaprabhu said, it is not for your sake, it is for my sake. I will be pleased if you take something. You see, when you accept a gift, usually it's not for your benefit. You have to accept the gift to give pleasure to the person who wants to give you the gift. Because if you refuse it, then that person will be upset. So Sridhar said, okay, all right, I'll accept one boon. But just one. In order to please you. In order to make you happy. Would you like to know what Sridhar asked from Lord Chaitanya?
Very much.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Thank you for your great audience participation. I knew it was worth coming here all the way from Abidjan, Ivory Coast. So, Sridhar said, my dear Lord, I want the blessing that wherever you appear, in whichever universe, I want to be there. And I want to take part in your pastime. And I want to be that person who supplies you with banana leaves and cups and bananas. And I want you to come and steal from me. You see, everybody's going to the temple, church, and mosque, and they're asking for bread and more. Not just bread, mainly more. All the extras that we consider important in life. But the pure devotee is simply asking the Lord, please steal my heart. Please take my humble offering of love. That is pure devotion. That is why we need to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita on a daily basis. When Lord Chaitanya used to hear Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, he would hear the story of Dhruva Maharaj, the story of Prahlad Maharaj for 100 times. He was so interested in hearing. He had such a great appetite for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he simply did not consider anything else to be of any substance, of importance in this universe. So we can analyze ourselves. How much appetite do I still have for topics of the mundane variety? How much am I still interested to know what are the news in this world? Just like when Lord Chaitanya came to Haridas Thakur, he asked him, what are the news? And Haridas Thakur said, the news is whatever mercy you can bestow upon me. That is the news of today. Besides that, there are no news. And I cannot finish my rounds. That's a very terrible thing. He was chanting 3 lakhs of name every day, which is about 192 rounds. For those of you who want to know it precisely. And it takes about 22 and a half hours if you chant continuously. So, Mahaprabhu told him, you don't have to keep up this numeric vow. You are old and you certainly proven to the whole world your dedication. But he was considering that to go down on his vow of chanting was not acceptable. So the devotees are simply interested in hearing and chanting about Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam yadantas chadridavrata namasyantascha mam bhakta nitya yukta upasate. So let us analyze, what is my taste? Do I have taste for chanting? And if not, why not? Now where is the taste coming from? The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, we can see what is the taste that I'm getting. And if I'm not getting this anandham buddhivardhanam, then I'm not performing Sankirtan. I'm doing something else, something different. Now why are we here? We're here to glorify Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna. We're here to give pleasure to them through Sankirtan. Jai, Sisi Gauri Chai, Jai. Perfect timing. So, we're here to engage in Harinam Sankirtan because this is the process for this age. If you want taste, that's where the taste is. The taste is not in karma. The taste is not in gyan. People don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And when we care about Krishna, and we are concerned about Krishna's pleasure, then we will receive this taste of the Sankirtan process. So very often, devotees become a little confused. What is my identity? To get back to our original point. What is our identity? Who am I? And what is really that thing or that activity that gives me pleasure in this world? So, who am I? I'm a jiva. I'm an infinitesimal part and parcel of Krishna. And I can only be really peaceful and pleased if I'm in loving union with my origin, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, which happens through Harinam Sankirtan in this day and age. So what is our identity? As long as I'm thinking, I'm a Dane, I'm a Swede, I'm a Norwegian, I'm a Swiss, German, American, black, white, red, yellow, green, purple, man, woman, rich, poor, stupid, educated, smart, beautiful or ugly, then I will be under the modes and I will be hankering and lamenting. I will be continuously in this material turmoil. But as soon as I actually accept the fact, Krishna Das, Evishwas, Tarvakara Dukhanai, I am the eternal servant of Krishna, and I'm simply here to give pleasure to Krishna through the performance of Sankirtan, then there is hope. There is a chance that we can experience this pleasure, this taste. But we think, how can I just act or live somebody else's life? Well, just like we hear about the Shishumara planet and how all the stars are revolving around the Dhruvaloka, the polar star. They're not complaining. They're not saying, why aren't we in the center of the universe? Why is it that fellow? we're thinking that we are the subject, but actually we're the object. We're taking ourselves to be the subject, and that's the root cause of our suffering, because we have a misperceived, we have a mistaken sense of identity. And upon that, we build our entire construct. We build our entire deck, our entire house of cards. And as soon as a little wind is moving, then the deck falls apart. And we have to, again, build up our little deck of cards like that. And material nature is very expert through her different agents to tell us, yes, next time you will definitely succeed. You can definitely become a success in this world. You just have to take, bigger cards, and they're stronger, and you can make a deck that's going to last like that. But however many castles of sand we're creating, they will be washed away by the imperceivable time factor. Just like here it says that the time factor is the determining factor, and Krishna is present in his time factor, kalos me. And as such, he moves everybody along in this universal drama. It's a big drama. And we have got a very minor role to play in this big drama. But it can be a very joyous role if we are understanding our real identity and the real path to happiness. Hare Krishna. Any questions in this regard? Yes, Prabhu.
What is required to actually deeply understand that one is servant of Krishna? Because I suppose one can't do it on his own with ascending method of acquiring knowledge.
We have to have faith. We have to have faith that the message of the pure souls, the message of the parampara is actually correct. And this will really benefit me and all living entities. Now we're not doing that on blind faith, because we have practical proof. We have so much experience in our own life, and we see if the Shastra would be wrong, if the saints would be wrong, then all the sages, all the saints, all the acharyas, all the incarnations, they would all be cheaters. Is this possible? Let's say it's a big conspiracy. It's just one big plot in order to manipulate you, little jiva. So somebody just made up something, created his own little doctrine. But there is countless sages and saints and personalities who are historic. They're facts. It's not that somebody just made this up. So what is my faith? Now where does faith come from? Faith comes from people who have faith. So by associating with persons who have faith in Krishna and in parampara, we can develop our faith. And then through applying ourselves in this process, we'll get our own vigyan, our own realization, our own applied practical knowledge, our own practical revelations in our own life of how this philosophy is actually a fact. It's not just ink on paper, which sounds nice. Because intellectually you can pretty much prove anything you want. If you know how to move the words around, you can pretty much prove any point you like. But if you bring it down to the practical level and you see how it applies and you see the consequences on people's lives, then you see the impact your ideology or your philosophy actually has. That's why we need to associate with saintly persons, and we need to take benefit from their association and from their realization. Yes?
There's a comment.
Yes, please.
Is when they handed down the Vedas from guru to disciple, they had like 8 different systems of remembrance of a sloka. They would remember it, straightforward, and they would jump in syllables, they learn it backwards, so that
Do you remember all the 8?
No, I don't. But there was no way that they could have the sloka wrong, because there were so many checks in these different systems that if they said something wrong, it would not harmonize with the 7 other ways. And they have found original scriptures of the Rig Veda anywhere in India, and they are practically exactly the same, over thousands of years. So it has stayed the same over thousands of years. So it's real.
And then Vyasadeva wrote it down with the help of Ganeshji. Because he saw Kali Yuga, it's a bad age, it's a bad time. We got to put this down, otherwise people will start speculating. And of course people have tried to rewrite certain Puranas, embellish and tweak it a little bit in their favor, or in the favor of their Ishtadev, of their worshipful Lord, or demigod. But, there is some. Any other points? Yes, Prabhu.
When we engage in some kind of harinam like that, then we come a little bit out of ignorance and we get some faith, and that when we first joined, my faith was based on it made me happy, but then one quickly thinks back to the ignorance. How can we, especially during japa time, 2 hours japa, it's like, I just wonder how we can conquer this, the mind.
Thank you for your honesty. Well, you're speaking from our hearts, because it is a challenge, it is a test. Stay high forever in Krishna consciousness by focusing on the holy name. Well, one way is if you're feeling sleepy and Tamaguna has got you firmly in their grips and Nidra Devi is embracing you, then the best thing is you just get up and you walk. But of course the mind says, no, I want to stay put. This is nice, I like it here. Another way is you actually record yourself chanting, and you keep it, and you listen to it, and you think, wow, that's scary. That's terrible. It's like taking the holy name with the hammer and breaking it, and you have little pieces, and you make like mosaic, see these floors of broken bricks sometimes. So we keep a journal, japa journal. How was my japa? How many rounds? What do I think? How many names did I hear today? Like that. But it has a lot to do with our intention, again, our desire. Do I really want to hear? Because if we really want to hear, just like if our life depends on it, you're trapped and in a pyramid. But somehow you have a little bit of reception on your mobile phone, and you call the architect, the one who made this thing, and he gives you directions. How well would you listen? Just imagine, how well would you listen to those directions? 90% of our spiritual advancement comes from chanting. They asked Prabhupada, how long did it take you to perfect your chanting? Prabhupada said about 20 years. So some of us have been around for more than 20 years. So we should ask ourselves, have we reached a stage where we can say, yeah. Of course, we know we should never be satisfied with our japa, with yagya, with tapasya, with dana, with the charity that we do. We should always try to improve. We should always try to increase. So I think that there is always room for improvement in japa. But it all starts from desire. Do I really want this? Or do I think this is just a chore? This is just something I have to get through before I can do the other things I really want to do in my day. Sometimes Krishna may take many things away from us and just leave us with this. You can just chant. Like sometimes I go to crazy places and you can't do anything because it's just impossible. You just can't. But you can always chant. That's always available. That always works. No matter how bad things are, we can always chant and hear the holy name. And you realize that if you just chant and hear, then it's not bad at all. In fact, it can be quite blissful. It can be quite ecstatic. I was taking a train in South India, and because of my own negligence, I had no booking, no reservation, so I just jumped on a general class compartment. And because there was a few other people who had the same idea, like me, there was a few of us who had the same plan. So I hardly got in the door, and I just was fighting my way to not be like on the trittbrett, on the outside, but to actually make it in there. So at the end, I ended up in front of the toilet, which was not a very scenic place to be for 4 hours. And I had about, not exactly where I could put my 2 feet, but almost, like about 1.5 feet I could put them down. And there was body parts moving from all sides, and it was pretty terrible from any perception, But at one point, you just start to go internal. And you just, like a yogi, you take the sense of, the first thing is that you take the sense of smell. and you just move it inwards. Have you ever wondered how this works in the yogic process? That you take the sense of hearing, and it's just so loud and noisy, you don't want to. So you just take that inward. Then the sense of smell, it's terrible. Then, okay, you're just becoming more internal. And after a while, you just chant and hear the holy name. And it's very blissful. It's very beautiful. And yes, people are still bouncing into you, and you still have to fight for survival. But it's not just desperation. It's not just struggle for existence. But you actually feel, I have a connection with Krishna. I'm chanting his holy name, and I'm doing seva. Seva is not limited. We can always do seva. It's nam seva. I'm serving the Lord personally. Just like the pujari is serving the deity personally. It's a very intimate, it's a very elevated position to be the personal servant of the Lord. But because we are oblivious, we're not so aware, not so conscious of it. Also what helps, sometimes you're in a japa group, like you have a study group, when you want to do an exam, you have some other people who do the same exam, and you study together, and you compare, and you help each other. So you have a japa circle, so you sit around, so if one person falls asleep, the other person has got, a water gun, a water pistol, can squirt you, or tap you. But after a while,